potential win for Guinea. It is a Gamble makes it 2-0.
Says, it's been flapping around. There's a chance, it's in the back of the net.
The 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, which is scheduled to take place in November and December, will be historic for Africa, as all 5 representatives from the continent, Cameroon, Ghana, Morocco, Senegal and Tunisia, will be led to the tournament by local coaches. Walid Regragui from Morocco, Aliou Cissé of Senegal, Rigobert Song from Cameroon, Tunisia's Jalel Kadri and Ghana's Otto Addo all qualified with their teams for football's biggest showpiece, which will happen for the first time in the Middle Eastern country. Football analyst Ponga Liwewe believes that this has to do with things falling into place and progress happening as it should. Liwewe also contributed this to the fact that football associations are giving local coaches more time with the teams, unlike in the past where coaches would be fired immediately if 1 or 2 results did not go their way.
Generally in African football, the tendency has been for coaches to come from Europe, especially particularly in case of a World Cup year. And we recall certain instances like Stephen Keshi of Togo qualifying them to the World Cup 2006 and then being replaced by a foreign coach at the last minute. So it's the first time we're seeing a situation where 5 African teams will be led by 5 African coaches, and this is unique in itself. It is a way that shows that there is growth in the African game. African coaches are belatedly beginning to gain recognition.
Sport administrator Matthew Haikali says that having the African teams coached by African coaches going into the World Cup shows that Africans are writing their own stories and should start believing in their own.
I think it's important. It's about Africa writing its own stories. That's one. The second one is that there's a whole trust that we can be able to trust our own people. Because I think previously we've been told our own people can't be able to produce quality, or they can't be able to deliver. And I think these coaches are showing they've taken their teams to the African Cup of Nations. What is the next competitions that you can be able to go to? And I think the World Cup, that's where the whole issue of trust comes in.
The coach's presence is also viewed as a massive step for the growth of African trainers who now coach at the highest level. Similar developments will hopefully be seen in the rest of Africa.
Well, it's a stepping stone for African coaches. I think the standardization of coaching courses, licensing has now meant that coaches can get similar qualifications, whether it's under CAF or under the UEFA program for coaching. And therefore, there is more spreading out of coaches who are more or less educated through the same sources and learning to understand the game in similar ways.
Liwewe also hopes that an African team can finally reach the semi-finals of the World Cup to improve on the quarter-final results achieved by Cameroon in 1990 and Senegal in 2002.